Hey, what's going on, guys? Me in for another podcast episode today. Today, we're going to be doing some more YouTube videos, but in a little bit of a different way. There is a video by Vice, Vice Informer channel. It's about 911. Gonna check it out, see what it is, and kind of comment on it as we go along. If you have any questions about anything that say or anything, feel free to ask. Just hang out and enjoy. Oh,
I've heard people murdered. I've heard people commit suicide. I've heard people walking into a room to find their children dead. I've heard the whole span of
I
humanity
wonder
in
why
my
they have
job.
them
Any sort
revealing
of
their
violent
identity. That's
situation you can think of,
odd
I've
to me.
heard it. And everyone that I work with has also heard the same things. The gunshot next to a phone just sounds like a really loud blare of static. If you don't know what you're listening for, it doesn't sound like a gunshot at all. I've been working as a 911 operator for approximately 3 years. I became an operator to help people when they need it and get them through some of the worst times of their life. I imagined it would be having to deal with some basic matters that people have an emergency with, but it didn't always end up being like that. You could have a 12-hour shift, you could have an 8-hour shift, a 24-hour shift, and in that amount of time, you could take upwards of 200 to 300 phone calls, still be expected to handle everyone the same.
Yep.
911 dispatchers are shown on TV as having 20 screens in front of them, being able to track your location no matter what, being able to get people to you immediately. That isn't what a government budget allows us to have. In reality,
Ain't
we
that the
don't
truth?
have a ton of
Government
related
budgets really be they budgeting.
and greatest technology. When you call 911, we rely on your triangulation of where you're at, pinging off of 3 different cell phone towers. We've had instances where we only get a phase 1 location, which is
Yep.
just the one cell phone tower. That's usually not going to be able to assist us in finding you. It's honestly a luck of the draw to find you within a block or within 2 miles. For example,
So it sounds like the budget for their government area is not the best. Um, of course, it doesn't say like what agency they work at or anything. I know for us, we're underneath a council of governments, and they're the ones that kind of help us as a local department with funding and things like that. And they're the ones that take care of the phone service for like tracking locations, cell phone tower triangulations, all of that. So I would say most of ours actually go to phase 2 tracking. Most. I'd say maybe about 10% don't. Um, but it sounds like they struggle with some budget issues that don't allow them to have the same kind of technology or ability to do a lot of that. That's that's gonna be tough. Like the thing is that agencies and cities have to realize and deal with is the budget constraints on some of these places. They don't just affect the equipment, they affect how well someone can do the job, and then they also affect the pay that the workers get. And you're dealing with crazy stuff or traumatic stuff, and you're not getting compensated well for it. it just creates a massive amount of burnout, and they're going to have a lot of turnover constantly going through employees. They're leaving to go other places, or worst case scenario, some of them just they kind of snap. I've had some coworkers before that kind of did not handle it well. I've definitely heard of some from other agencies did not deal with some of the calls and things they have to deal with very well. And it's something that a lot of firefighters or officers that are actually on the street don't understand with 911 callers. Me doing both jobs, harder to me being on the phone and knowing what to do and not being able to help. So I think it's just something that officers and people that are out in the field don't understand that dispatchers actually deal with, or that they have hard feelings. They have tough feelings to work through and deal with. It's just something they don't understand because they're having to see the actual scenes.
Well, we've had someone call 911 before. It sounded like a female screaming for help. It was very obvious that she was being hurt. And because we only got to phase one, we aren't exactly able to send people out to come try and find you in such a big area. We just had to disconnect the call and take the next phone call. It's very
Um, I don't know if I agree with that decision, but I mean, I imagine sometimes you have to make those decisions, especially if you have just background noise. And it sounds like 2 to 300 calls a shift. Believe it or not, that's actually probably a smaller agency than LA 911. So they kind of had to balance what they needed to do. If they were getting more calls in that moment at the same time, can't just ignore all the other calls and stay on that one. So yeah, that's a hard decision to make. And if the caller's not able to give you their address, it's gonna be tough running. And also you heard him mention the phase one information as well. You have phase one and phase two information. The phase one information, when it pings off the tower, um, a phase one will give you a very large area that it could be possibly coming from. I want to say like a square mile. It's probably a little less than that. It's a very large area to try and like literally go door to door, especially if you're in a densely populated area. The officers would have to go to every single door and try and find this person. And then even then, if the people at the residence that they go to aren't being truthful, you don't know if that person's actually there or not.
difficult to listen to someone screaming for you and trying to get your help, but in reality, there's nothing we can do. Just have to hang up on them and talk to the next person like nothing happened. So one night, I pick up a 911 call from a female who sounds very scared. It's obvious that she's whispering. When you call 911 and you're whispering, it's usually not a good sign. She had told us that she thinks somebody's in her house.
So I actually saw a I'm gonna switch screens here while I do this, but I actually saw an Instagram reel today that was mentioning a 911 caller whispering, and it is it's hard to hear people sometimes when they're whispering, and it sounds a lot clearer on the recording than it does for hold on. Sounds a lot clearer on the recording than it does in person hearing that. And sorry, my mind is going. It sounds a lot clearer on the recording than it does in real life, because in real life you're going to have phones and other things in the background that are um messing with what you're able to hear. And so you can't always it's going to be difficult to hear sometimes with all of the other background noise. Depending on the center you're in, you're hearing fire radios, police radios, you're hearing other phones going off, you're hearing tones being dropped by another agency. There's a lot of things that go into it. You could have officers asking for paperwork. You could have the mainline phones going off as well as 911. And so there's a lot of noise you kind of have to work around. And if somebody's just barely talking, it can be hard to hear. Uh, it's hard when people start whispering, but you also know that it's bad usually.
She was upstairs hiding in a closet. She had told me that she had a gun with her and that she isn't afraid to use it if someone enters her room. The call progressed to her whispering even quieter that she hears footsteps coming up the stairs and she doesn't know what to do. As a 911 operator, we're not allowed to instruct people to do things because if we instruct them to do something that causes them to become injured or get
Yep.
killed, we become criminally liable for their death.
Yes. So
The female asked
criminal liabilities with dispatch. That's a good point. So it's dispatchers are criminally liable for anything that goes wrong in a call. If we instruct them with something to do and they do it and they end up being harmed from that, we are criminally liable. Whether or not that's, it may be the best decision at the time or it may not be, it really doesn't matter. That's why you can't ever instruct people to do things. A lot of dispatchers will even go to the extreme of, when somebody says something, I have a gun, I'm not afraid to use it and all that. We make it known that, okay, well, I can't suggest you to do that. It's not me telling you to do that. In other words, like, do what you need to do, but I'm not telling you to do that. That's not my advice. That's not what I'm saying. Because if something happens, it blows back on the dispatcher. Even with a lot of agencies don't really believe this, but I've seen it happen in other agencies. I've heard about it from other agencies and friends of mine that work in other agencies. For instance, if an officer is running a criminal history for a bogus reason, let's say they're trying to stalk an ex or check out an ex's new boyfriend or something like that, or maybe they, whatever reason, they're trying to get more information on somebody when they really shouldn't be. They don't really have a case on it. We would become liable for that as well. Of course, the officer would also get in trouble for that, right? But the state would also ask us, well, why did you run that farm? If you knew that's what they were doing, why did you run that history farm? Why did you do it? So now you're going to lose your license as well and also get a felony for it. Um, and at that point, whenever a lot of places, and this goes for any workplace, whenever a agency or your workplace says, "Oh no, we have your back, we'll cover you," that's all fine and dandy. But a lot of times, when you actually get down to it, and something does happen, where you need their help and you need them to have your back, it becomes a different story. Especially when like criminal charges and stuff start popping up, or it becomes a thing to where it makes them look bad. Um, they'll they'll do what they need to do to keep the department running or to keep that business running, right? So always just one of those things we always have to be careful of what we're saying, what we're doing, and how we handle things. Just constantly covering yourself, really.
me if she was allowed to shoot the person that was coming in. And of course, I can't tell her don't do that, but I also can't tell her to do that.
Yep,
And that's when
got to
I
be
heard
vague.
the gunshot. The door opened and she immediately shot her husband in the head.
That's terrible.
It's something that we have to think about every day. Not being able to give somebody instructions on what to do can be incredibly frustrating, but to keep yourself safe from getting sued or sent to jail, you just kind of have to let the ball sit in their court.
Yep.
A lot of people call 911 to let you know that they're going to commit suicide. They essentially just want someone to come pick them up before their kids have to see.
Yeah.
We do our
Yep.
best, obviously, to try and talk someone down from committing suicide to try and get them help. I think that's the way of just making sure their family doesn't have to deal with any sort of uncomfortable situation. In my state, we're not
That's
considered
always
first responders. We're categorized as
yep.
clerical staff.
Okay,
We're
we're getting into some nitty gritty here. So with that, um, I have had that several times, and to me, that's one of the sadder things I think I have to do. Really makes me think is whenever something like that happens, that's all they're wanting is they're wanting the first responders to find them before their family does, and is a terrible situation. There's nothing you can do because if somebody's made up their mind, they're going to go ahead, and then you're the one that has to get stuck with the initial trauma of it. Um, like I said, the field first responders, they oftentimes don't understand it because they just kind of deal with the aftermath of it rather than having to actually listen someone go through with it. Like you hear the whole interaction. So it's just different types of situations there. Now, the first responder thing, a lot of states still do not categorize 911 dispatchers as first responders, which I get, but I also don't get. I get it because we're not out in the field, right? There's certain things that maybe there should be a different class of thing. And it people when they think of like being classified as a first responder or different things, sometimes they think of, oh, they're looking for discounts and things. Well, there's certain protections that you get when you're classified as a first responder versus clerical staff. When you're classified as a first responder, you sometimes get protections against those liabilities and things that make you liable or criminally liable for different situations. So there's a little bit of backup there. If you're classified as a first responder, you also get some backup as far as mental health help. That people don't realize, and that's a big thing with the 911 now. People don't realize how much 911 has to listen to and deal with, especially sometimes when I can't imagine what it'd be like for a large agency listening to someone in a traumatic situation or being stabbed or something, and you don't have the officers to send them, and you just have to let them know an officer will be there when they get there, and you know in your head, it's going to be like half an hour before an officer gets. I couldn't imagine that. That's one of the blessings I count for not working at a huge agency that's severely understaffed to where you don't have to have that in the back of your mind that someone is wait for help for a while, especially in critical situations.
Essentially, people who work at a front desk, according to the government. The only difference is we listen to people die. And
Yeah,
honestly, it feels like a spit in the face.
yeah,
We're not offered as many programs or outlets to help us. It's
and that's what I
very
was talking
common
about.
for
The first
someone
responders
to
have different
develop
programs.
PTSD. We have to deal with people yelling at us all day and traumatic events on the phone, which causes people to quit left and right.
Absolutely.
Not having adequate staffing is kind of a domino effect. Not only does it affect the people who call 911, but it also affects the people who answer 911. So while your phone call is waiting, we're being burnt out, we're getting worked tirelessly, we're picking up the work of extra people.
So yeah, that's what I was kind of saying earlier. It's kind of a domino effect. Your agency doesn't pay you well. People are going to get burned out a lot faster, even because you deal with these traumatic experiences. You deal with people yelling at you, calling you absolutely everything under the sun because they. And honestly, I feel like it probably even happens more than police officers because people, much like behind a keyboard, people sometimes feel a little more brave over the phone. And then when the officer gets there, like, oh yes, sir, no, sir, yes, that no, that's correct. And it's a totally different thing than what you have on a recording. I remember there was one time there's a gentleman that was absolutely berating me up and down, and I let him know several times, hey, I got to get to the next 911 call. Eventually, I had to disconnect with him, and it was about an alarm system thing that was going on. It wasn't even like an active emergency; it was something that had already happened. We had already gotten in motion and everything, uh, but he was upset with how it was handled, right? And so he just kept calling 911, and I kept saying, "Hey, you're tying up the 911 line." So I let the officer know what was going on, and then the officer gets there, and the officer's like, "No, that dude was super nice, like extremely respectful, extremely nice, understood everything." And it's like, where was that 2 seconds ago when you were tying up 911 lines and constantly calling me back just to cuss me out? So it's something that is almost a daily thing, just kind of people feeling brave and feeling like they can, say whatever. I'd even had a supervisor at one point that I had a 911 call where the guy had ended up getting upset and everything and requested my full government name, which is pretty much public record, right? But and I had no problem. giving that, operator such and such, first and last name, fine. What I had an issue with is when he started requesting the names of my family. And when I was told that I needed to give the names of my family, I refused to do that. So situations like that, because we're considered clerical staff sometimes, they consider quote unquote customer service to be the absolute utmost. Be nice to everyone, no matter what, even if we're being berated, even if we're being told, things are going to happen to our families and they want our family's names. So just something to think about when you call 911 or a police station and you get a hold of that dispatcher. Just maybe they're a little cold or just a tad bit rude. Maybe think about what kind of calls they had been dealing with earlier that day or how long they've been dealing with those. Like this gentleman said earlier, sometimes, um, you work 12 hours. Sometimes I think the most I've worked in dispatch, thankfully, is like 14 hours, um, which there are laws in place to like prevent 911 staff from working so long. At least in Texas, there's different things set up to where we shouldn't be working any more than think is either 12 or 14 hours is like the absolute max. So I am thankful for that. I could imagine 24-hour shift in dispatch I would probably keel over.
People for no extra benefit. It gets very alarming when you see the number of people waiting become bigger than how many people are able to take a call.
Yes.
And it's just a queue of calls, so you don't know if it's somebody arguing or if someone's currently getting killed.
Yep.
In this profession, seconds are the difference between life and death. One of the biggest problems we have is people abusing the system.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously have the people that lie and say their ex-boyfriend has a gun or drugs under his mattress. People calling in bomb threats in large public places. People saying that they have someone being held hostage in a house. We're going to
Yep.
respond like it's actually happening.
Absolutely.
One of my biggest fears of having to hang up on a prank call is the 1% chance that that was not a prank call.
Mm.
I definitely think this job isn't for everybody. I don't even think this job is suitable for someone who thinks they have thick skin. It takes a certain type of person to be able to listen to someone die on the phone and go home at the end of the day like nothing happened.
Absolutely. No, lots of really, I guess that's a deep dive into everything. And I mean, maybe that's why they're hiding their identity. They don't want to be putting all that out there in their agency, lash out at them for that, which a lot of agencies, not every agency is the best in the world. I don't know that there is a best in the world because every agency is going to have their problems because of budget constraints, because of um, things that their local government is wanting them to do. Whatever the case is, there's going to be a reason that an agency can't be perfect. No agency is going to be perfect. I think I work at a pretty good one. If we're comparing everything, there's always things we could do better. There's always things that we can complain about because that's how it happens, right? Um, but overall, I think I work at a pretty good agency. And how agencies respond to some of the stuff, how agencies help you out with your mental health and your burnout, having not having help or having high turnovers to where you're having to cover overtime shifts and everything is key to not having people burn out, end up shorthanded because it really is a domino effect because and it's one of those balancing games too because let's say an agency pays their people well, but doesn't have the best benefits or they don't back them up on mental health type things, then have people quitting because of that. And let's say you have two people quit. Well, now people are having to pick up the slack for those two people, and with them working more and dealing with more of those calls for the same pay, um, just tiring themselves out, they're just going to get it burned out even more. So it just becomes a domino effect of one thing after another after another. Next one, I think we're going to do. I'm seeing one here. from a body cam YouTube channel. This one's going to be from Midwest Safety. So this is going to be officers responding to be an active incident at a water park, and I'll kind of walk you through kind of what we would look for on 911 and how that would go down for us. How could it possibly help with that, and what happens when officers are on scene and we're trying to get radio traffic as well. So once again, this one's going to be from Midwest Safety. Be sure to subscribe to them. They're a really nice channel. They are one of the most popular channels as far as body cam videos go. You'll see people like Cinnamon Toast Ken and Donut Operator reacting to a lot of these body cam videos. Let's get into it and see what we got.
Come on!
Go back.
Come on! Come on! Lincoln Pool Special, we just had 4 or 5 shots.
Okay. So this looks like an active security guard, or they're either active security guard or police working off-duty security. Which, knowing the Axon thing up there in the top right corner, Axon only sells to law enforcement. So that's either going to be an off-duty officer working security, or it's an officer that is stationed there at the water park. Or, some water parks, if they're massive enough, it could be a city water park even, but it could be some water parks are massive enough to have their own police force, kind of like you think like Disney and Universal and things like that have their own police force. But I do know only police officers get Axon body camera, at least directly from Axon.
Just northeast of us.
On June 11th, 2025 in Columbus, Ohio.
So that's one of those things. Instantly you hear that radio traffic being in dispatch, especially agency as small as ours. That's an instant like heart sink. Oh crap! Moment. It is about to go down. So you're going to be thinking about a million things at that point. You're going to be thinking about, okay, I need to contact Lieutenant, let them know that we're possibly going to have a SWAT team situation that we need to get ready for. It could also be a situation to where you need to contact other agencies or agencies that help with that. You're probably going to be getting a lot of 911 calls all at the same time because people don't know that one particular officer is there. You're going to have everybody there at the park calling in as well.
Ohio. Officers were working special duty at Lincoln Park Pool when they reported hearing multiple gunshots nearby. The pool was crowded with families enjoying the day. When the gunfire triggered a rapid evacuation and widespread panic, officers immediately moved to secure the area and locate the source of the shots.
Taylor, are you okay?
911, what's the location of your emergency?
Lincoln Park, they're shooting. We need help.
Who's shooting?
I don't know. I'm a kid, and I just called 911. He was wearing a black shirt. That's my little brother just told me.
It's good. That kid is actually pretty dang smart for instantly kind of putting that out. Some operators get a little salty if you start blurting things out, but in my mind, I can always go back and listen if I absolutely need to. But yes, the dispatchers are always going to ask, like, you say, hey, he's shooting. Okay, who is he? Like, what? Do you know them? Because we're just trying to get as much description. Because sometimes people do know. People are at a party and they say he's shooting, and you ask who, and they're like, oh yeah, Dave over there. You're like we know Dave. Dave was at the party, but he just started shooting. So always ask. Doesn't hurt to ask and get plenty of details that way.
All the lifeguards, they run to the bathroom.
Was he a black guy?
Yes.
In all black clothing?
Yes.
How many of them?
He said it was 2 people, but he didn't know where they went.
All right, City, we're going to get an officer out there, okay?
We're not seeing anybody. It was like the back.
Good.
Yeah, like
Good
between the
dispatcher.
rec center and
Got details. Got them quick. Comforted the caller.
Right up here.
Can I get a street name? We're gonna go 43 up to 1700 Ann Street, 5 rounds, nothing in the street, in the parking lot for the apartment. Okay.
And you hear all of this going on. All of this sounds like it's going on a main channel. Well, Columbus is a pretty big agency. I imagine it might be going on a TAC channel or something. But in our agency, that would be something that all of that's going on over the main channel while we're probably having supervisors and lieutenants calling us, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? And we're having more 911 calls of people. Are there even officers here? Are there even officers on the way? All the officers asking what the other officer said. Then you're going to have fire department and EMS staging at a separate location to try and treat anybody that's injured if we need them. A lot of moving parts in just a few seconds of action. Everything going on at
It
once.
sounded east
Even
of
though
us.
you're seeing all the separate pieces, this is all going down at the
It's
same
right
time.
here at 1720, I promise. We got casing.
Alright, excellent. Not getting myself killed to deliver a pizza.
Are you okay? You know-
It's okay. It's also very true. I know our officers deal with it a lot, and every agency deals with it. So you're going to have people that when something goes down, they're either going to do their job no matter what, or they're going to be nosy no matter what. And people are going to be trying to get up on a scene and everything, and they're going to get mad when an officer tells them to get back. But the officers are telling them that for their safety. And, there's also a certain amount of privacy in things too, and a certain amount of, in the military, you'd call it operational security, but even with officers, there's a certain amount of operational security. Whereas if you're going and you're finding these casings, you're looking for a shooter and everything, you're not going to tell everybody around, oh, yeah, we're looking for the shooter. Because let's say this lady here in the door is shooter's cousin, and you tell them, oh, yeah, we're looking for a shooter. He looks like this. She can turn around and tell the cousin, hey, you need to go out the back door because they're looking for you. You don't want to mess up your operation, your operational security there. You also focused on your job. You're not focused on the dude delivering pizza. So if you're just trying to keep him safe and out of line of fire, quite literally in this situation, people still get upset at the officers, though. It's just inevitable, no matter what they do.
Where it was, or you see a car? It was. His casing's right there. Yeah. Did you see anybody?
Seem like they're being pretty helpful there, at least as much as they can be. Some communities, the officers also have to watch out because people aren't exactly forthcoming with information because they don't trust police officers. Depending on what their community's dealt with and what agency they've had to deal with, animal, but it also, it really does hinder the job of the officers. Officers are always going to be called out, whether they do something, whether they don't do something. It's always going to be their fault.
Just came in taking my trash in.
Dude, it was pop, 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 pop. And then,
Come here, Frankie.
Block 13.
come here, Pop. Come here.
When we were rolling out, before we need to out, there's more.
Last scene going this way. There are 3 juveniles.
I didn't see anyone go that way. I just saw 3 male blacks walking that way. Me and him will go. You
Go,
guys
yeah,
can-
go. We'll stay here. Tony was outside, so he was closer. He's seen some people run that way. And my fat ass is all out of breath.
I don't know if you saw him. You guys drove past
You're
me.
honest, right?
As soon as I turned onto this street, westbound, south of the actual Barak Center, there's 3 male blacks just walking west.
West, down this, down
Going
Moral.
towards the park, So me and Strapple will go.
And the shell casings are up here?
Yeah, shell casings are right there by Abbott.
And I'm sitting here thinking this from the point of view of like the agency I work at. So generally, on good nights for officers working. So man, that would be tough because you're gonna have to secure this complex, right? As an officer, you'll have to secure the complex, which would take at least 2 officers would be good in a situation like that, right? Then the other 2 are gonna go out and look for the shooters. That would be tough.
I'll see if we can pick them back up. See if they run.
They might have blood over there. No one aired it, but they might have a blood splatter right there.
I've got a witness that said he saw 3 kids, 14 to 16, wearing black. One was on a bike. The one with the 33 was not on the bike, and they took off eastbound from
Right there.
the street here. Eastbound 18.
So that's another thing. Sounds like they may have been getting additional calls from witnesses, or officers may have been getting statements from witnesses. But you also have that going on at the same time. A lot of times that we will get calls, if something's active going on, someone will call and say, oh, no, we saw these people over here. They're looking kind of suspicious. So then you're having to try and break into the radio traffic for your emergency traffic So they're talking about, we've got the shell casings, we've got this, we've got that. When you're trying to break into their radio traffic and tell them, no, a caller actively sees them right here, you know, this is where they are.
13, we got 3 calls in front of the Brock Center. Hey, hands!
I copy.
Show me your hands.
From the rec center.
Hands! All of you, stop!
Stop right there!
Stop right there! Stop right there! Show me your hands! Show me your hands! Stop right there! Got one running.
The AI coding agent showdown. The first scenario we're testing for is understanding.
I figured we'd have an ad in the middle somewhere.
Don't move! Down! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Down! Show me your hands!
Chopper 5, chopper 5.
Hey, stop!
Yeah, there he's running.
So stuff like this, man, it goes 0 to 100 real quick. And, you know, I think these officers are being a little aggressive. But when you're dealing with guns, you've already heard the gunshots, you have the casings, you have the blood, you have people that are saying these are the suspects, and they instantly start running or reaching or being aggressive. It turns crazy quickly.
I copy. Shots fired. 10-3. Northbound to the park. Northbound to the park. Right back.
He's reaching. He just threw something. Whoop.
The Crown Vic just straight up drove straight into the ditch.
Don't move!
Here.
Do not move! Don't move! The gun's right there! Don't move! Do not move! 33 under the car! 33 under the car! Don't move!
Don't reach! Don't reach! Don't reach! Hey, cover! Get the cover! You idiots! Get the cover! Thank you!
Hands up! Hands up!
One thing you'll notice is a lot of officers are veterans. A lot of them were in different branches of the military. You can notice that sometimes in the way they speak or the way they give orders. This is one of those situations when it hypes up, a lot of them kind of go into muscle memory, and in a hyped up situation like this, that's when it starts becoming similar to the military. And you start throwing that word around, though, people get all hyped up and, oh, militarizing the police and everything. No, it's sometimes the way this world is now and the way there's so much of this going on the street, it turns into that in a situation like
I'm back. Get up. Can I get up, please? Hey, get up. Hey, get up with muzzle in front of me. Get up, please. I'm bleeding.
I copy. Taking one into custody.
Are you guys okay? Fuck you, buddy.
Oh, no.
Somebody call. Keep your hands out on the side. Keep your hands out on the side. Okay.
Help me. What you got?
Yep.
What you got? We're gonna take him into custody.
Okay.
Where my hands?
I believe it's 131.
Let's go. Hands out on the side.
We're just gonna stay.
Help him.
I'm getting you in cuffs.
Help him. Come on, Dad.
You got it? Yep.
Get him up.
You got it. You up. Get up. Come on. Yeah, I got lethal.
Hey, stay. Get back. No, come back.
Be careful. Don't move.
So you see firearm recovered right there.
There we go. All right. I'll take cuffs. Hey, I got 2 in the car right now. Move up. I got lethal. Hey, 33 right by you.
No, Pittman. It doesn't matter. I know. We'll get you in a second.
Shit, I got blood on me. I got blood on me. We might need to go in here and look. When I was coming across, he pitched the gun. I don't know.
I'll go in there.
Because when he came from between the buildings, I watched him throw it.
And you get 3 of them going separate directions.
Officer support here. Start setting up the team. And do we need a medic for anyone?
All right, we need to get these people out.
Yeah.
Special officer support. Where do you need me?
It's underneath the driver.
Okay.
138
I am as well.
All right, here.
How many officers support do we need?
Hey, just walk with me. Just walk with me over here. Okay, just walk with me. You're fine. You're fine. Oh, I got you. Man, back up. Back up. Back up. He got a GSW in the shoulder.
Shoulder, that's good.
Shoulder? Yep, right there.
Also, being as a lot of officers or military people, they're going to have some kind of basic training on general combat first aid and whatnot. They may get some of it from the department as well, and so they'll try and help as soon as they can. Their main priority is to get the scene secure so they can call in extra help, such as ambulance or fire truck for these guys.
No, anyone have a tourniquet? Tourniquet? Yeah. Hey, where's another cruiser?
Where you hit?
Right there. You're good. You're good, buddy. You're good. You're good, man.
You're good, buddy. You're good.
Go up as high as you can.
Yep.
You're good, dude. Hang tight. Hang tight. Hang tight.
One thing you got to think about making these decisions is what kind of pain you might be in.
It's gonna hurt, dude.
Gonna hurt.
It will not feel good, buddy.
But this will save.
One more.
There you go. Where are you shot out? In your leg right here? All right. He threw something. I can't say it was a gun, but it was black. And it was big enough that I could see it from over there.
That's it, police. Columbus police. We got the back, one back, guys.
Oh, there it is. I knew he threw it. I saw him pitch it.
Wow, straight up into the pool.
Missing the magazine. You are shot in the arm and leg. Hang tight right now. Shut up.
I'll help you, Brian.
Guns over here in the pool. I copy another one is covered. Hey, can we get a couple officers over there to help clear out the pool?
Bit of a crazy case. I don't know how often this happens for Columbus, but
All right, buddy. Hold still. Let's go.
on these real bad
Pull it
days.
tighter. Pull it tighter. All right, bud. This is gonna hurt. So, sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Devin, I got more information written down. Put it on.
Sorry, not sorry.
So how does it feel to a cop when bravery and fear collide? Well, that question is hard to answer when a cop experiences moments like this, because one second you're watching over families in a pool, and the next you're hearing that unmistakable sound of gunfire, and your body knows
This
before
is
your
the
mind
Midwest
does that
safety.
danger's close. But deep
Please
down, every
subscribe to
officer
him.
knows
It's
this
good.
is where fear sharpens into a razor's edge, and bravery decides whether you move forward or you freeze. And when you have multiple gunshots ring out near a crowded public space like a pool, you don't get just a crime scene, you get an instant city within a city. You got kids separated from parents, strangers pulling each other towards safety, and officers have to lock everything down with no map, no guarantees, and no clue how many shooters are involved. But the complexity of the job to me is how these same people who cause a police officer to fire the weapon then sit and scream in pain from a tourniquet. But this is a lesson he won't soon forget. These tourniquets aren't just straps of nylon. It's the most unforgiving reminder of how close life and death can sit right beside each other. And applied right, it can keep a father alive long enough to see his kids again, or keep a suspect breathing long enough to face the justice he tried to outrun. And that's the paradox of policing, protecting life even when it's the life of someone who seconds earlier put everyone's life in danger.
All three suspects were juveniles and were arrested and taken into custody. The 15-year-old who fled from police was arrested and faces 4 felony charges for carrying a concealed weapon, receiving stolen property, tampering with evidence, and obstructing official business. The 16-year-old juvenile who was shot by police after producing a firearm and failing to comply with commands was hospitalized, but released in stable condition. He faces 3 felony charges, carrying a concealed weapon, tampering with evidence, and obstructing official business. The last juvenile was taken into custody without incident. A BB gun resembling a real firearm was recovered from his person, and no charges have been filed against
I'm not sure if maybe some of y'all have seen BB firearms for. That's what I'm going to call them, just trying to avoid some issues with YouTube and Twitch and everything. But it's actually Glock branded. At least that one looks like it is. And a lot of these BB pistols nowadays are heavy metal, very, very, very realistic, very, very hard to tell from the real thing. A lot of them, either they don't come with the orange tip, because they have to assume that people are going to use them responsibly, or if they do come with the orange tip, some people paint them themselves, right? There's also been a trend lately of people painting the tips of real firearms orange in an attempt just whether it's an artistic thing to just make them look like toys, or whether they're attempting to make them look like toys for other reasons. But that has been a trend lately as well. I hope you enjoyed this one. This one's a little bit different. Also dived into kind of what police officers deal with and what dispatch is thinking while police officers are taking care of a situation. We also had that video at the beginning of the Vice Informer about what dispatchers deal with kind of behind the phone and everything. A little bit of a more real talk on that one. But I appreciate y'all stopping by. If you're seeing this after the fact, thank you for stopping by as well. We'll see you next week about the same time, and hope to see you again. Have a good one.